The city never sleeps, but neither do its villains. This fight for the city will be played with a deck of cards. Hi, I'm Kendall, and this is Shadow Solitaire Gambit for the City. Before I jump into the overview, I want to say that my projects do get updated, so always check for the latest video. And really, you should subscribe so you don't miss updates and cool games I'm making with minimal components. So in this solo game, you step into the role of a masked vigilante trying to keep the city from slipping further into darkness. The court cards represent key conflicts. For example, the Harley Quinn. You have the Two-Faced, and you have the Ivy Queen. The last one is going to be the Jester King. So the rest of the deck represents noise of the city, the unpredictable threats that keep the vigilante moving. So your goal is simple. It's to survive the night and outlast the encounters in order to protect the city. So to set up, you remove the court cards and make an encounter deck. Jester King will always be the final encounter, and then the other encounters are just shuffled up within their ranks, layered from jacks, queens, and then kings. You'll also pull out the 10 of hearts and the 10 of spades, and these are used to track your first your armor. As you get hit, you'll cover these up, and then if you run out of armor, you'll flip the cards, and then you are tracking your health. And if you ever run out of health, the city is lost. So besides court cards and the 10s for tracking, you shuffle the rest of the cards, including both jokers, into your play deck, and that's the setup. So I'm actually going to follow along the example that I give in the rules doc. So we're going to say that we're through the jacks. We're on the first queen happens to be the Harlequin here. We've taken some damage to our armor. We're down to 5. You basically flip over your shuffled cards, and you'll have 4 threats for the round. Normally, if you draw a joker, even if it's during the response phase, it'll end up being a 5th encounter. If you end up drawing both jokers, you'll have up to 6 encounters. So normally it's 4. I will say though, on the final encounter with the King of Diamonds, the Jester King, it will be 6 encounters, even if you don't draw jokers. So you've got your 4 cards, and then you go into your response phase, which is 1 card at a time. So for our first card, we draw 5 of spades. So a normal play is that we could basically play it face up to cover something. The aces, if they're part of your threats, are worth the highest, that it matches the highest that you already have out. So an 8 is what this ace represents. So this is not enough to do any except 3. But in this case, I think I will actually use my Grapple Line, which is once per turn, any adjacent threats you can connect. This isn't enough to beat these 2, but it's enough to set them together. And then later, I just need something that can equal a 9 up to 3 above. So 9 to a 12 with this 5 too. So, all right, so we have that. Now I draw a joker. So even though I'm in response phase, this is another encounter. All right, next card is a 10. One of the rules is there's an option to, if you get a low card, you can play it face down as a smoke bomb, and that automatically clears 1. But you can't do that if the suit matches the current encounter, or if it's a joker. So we know these 2 can't have a smoke bomb. So I think this would make the best sense to play on one of these. Also, you can't go more than 3 over, and if I play this, it becomes a 15, and 12 is the highest that can be played here, so I would actually fail that. So I'll play it here. All right, and we can draw responses up to the number of threats. So we can do 5, so we're on our 3rd one. We get an ace. So aces represent double agents, and when they are part of the threats, they are worth the highest current threat. Same with a joker, they're worth the highest current threat, so this is an 8 also. When you draw it in the response phase, it's worth the lowest threat current for the current turn, so a 3. So because it's a 3, it's not enough to play here and bring this up to a 9, so that doesn't work quite. I can't play it as a smoke bomb here because that's not allowed, but I can over here, so I'll do that. Alright, this one actually does work perfectly for my grapple line. And then my last card is a 5. You can only do 1 smoke bomb per turn. So yeah, it's not enough to defeat this 8. So in this turn, I would take 1 damage for this. And if I'm playing on the hardest level, you'll also take 1 damage, an additional damage if it's a queen encounter, and then 2 additional damage if it's a king encounter. You're also allowed to stack cards. So if you say you had this 10 here, if you had this 8, and say this had come out in a different way that I played this here for some reason, you could end up playing this and stack it. That'd be 9 against 8. And then you're hoping that maybe a card came along that you could satisfy both of these, since you used an extra card here. At the same time, if this had worked in a way that this was the threat, well, yeah, let's say this was the threat and you defeated it, and then you only need 1 card. You're actually 1 card less. You were more efficient, that you didn't need anything else. You had 1 more card. That actually means you can heal. Similarly, if you don't use your smoke bomb. So in a scenario where, you know, maybe this was played, and this was equal to a 6 or something, you didn't use your smoke bomb, so you could heal 1. You can only heal once per turn, but you could go from a 6 here, or sorry, from a 5 here to a 6, as well as leaving a card uncovered if it worked out that way, that you had this, and yeah, maybe you had stacked a card somewhere else and you ended up leaving a card empty. It's okay to leave a card empty, it just causes a damage. So that's basically how to play. After the round, you assess your damage, and then you would advance to the next court card, basically getting all the way to the Jester King, and then that will be the final boss, where you'll have 6 threats that round. I want to say that this game is part of the Board Game Geek Traditional Deck Game Design Contest. I'll have a link in the description for the work in progress, which will have the most recent rules document. And this is actually my 2nd submission to the contest. I made a video earlier about Edgar Shovelhands. So both of these games are inspired by Tim Burton movies, so I felt like that was good for October vibes. I'll also have a link to my Substack. It's a monthly-ish newsletter where I share my updates. I also share, in the welcome email, you'll get a link to a folder where I share certain games that I haven't shared otherwise. So if you appreciate games like this, I design with minimal components, so consider subscribing, and a like will help the algorithm reach more people that like this. And thanks for checking out Shadow Solitaire. Leave any questions or feedback in the comments, and until next time, thanks.